Hello! In the last video we talked about Spanish alphabet and why it may be useful to learn it. Now it's time to cover all the letters in detail, because as you know, some letters may sound differently depending on the situation. Today we'll be talking about Spanish vowels. Those are the letters A, E, I, O, and U. You might think that Y should also be here, but for some reason Y is considered to be a consonant in Spanish, so we'll cover it later. We begin with the letter A. It makes the sound A. That's it. What, surprised? Or did you expect me to give you 20 variations of the same letter? Sometimes a letter is just a letter, don't overcomplicate it. Every letter that we'll be discussing today except U has only one sound. English and French can suck it. Let's take a couple of words in English and compare them. For example, apple, father, ball, cable, private. When you are learning English, things like this make you want to, well, stop doing it. Now let's look at the same words in Spanish. Aple, padre, pelota, cable, privado. Now let's compare them. Only focus on the letter A. Apple, aple, father, padre, ball, pelota, cable, cable, private, privado. Now, I'm not a pronunciation expert, but I hear 5 different A sounds on the left side and 1 consistent A sound on the right. I'm not good at math either, but I call this a win for Spanish. I hope it's clear that in Spanish the letter A always makes sound A. That's one thing. Another thing is the length of the pronunciation. In English we tend to prolong our vowels, but in Spanish they are much shorter. Let's take the words large from English and largo from Spanish. In English we put an emphasis on A, we say large, but in Spanish it's just largo. Again, large, largo. Father, padre, ball, pelota. This is the most important thing from today's lesson. If you don't want to be called gringo every time you open your mouth, the simplest way to do that is by cutting your vowel pronunciation by 50%. And if you're from California, make it 90%.
Yeah, I'm gonna have some chicken, I guess, but whatever.
Can I have, is there, I don't know, like a sandwich?
Let's move to the next letter, that is E. It makes the same sound regardless of where it is. Some examples are lector, sobre, pierna, evitar, Europa. Simple, right? Just remember to keep the vowels short. We do not say Europa, it's just Europa. The letter number 3 is I. It's never I, it's I, like in the word important in English or importante in Spanish. Some examples are Italia, imagen, vino, aire, ideal. One thing to notice is that the letter I can be also called I Latina or Latin I in English. As far as I know, the name I Latina was used to help distinguish it from Y or Greek I. Now both letters were changed and their official names are I and Ye. The confusing part is that this change happened relatively recently, which means that most people still call Ye Y, and sometimes you may hear I Latina being used instead of just I. I encourage you to memorize both options for both of these letters to make sure you don't feel startled, because you will probably hear these letters being called more than one way. A good example of this is when Twitter recently changed its name to X, and let's be honest, nobody's gonna fucking call it that. I also want to be clear that everything we've just discussed has only to do with the names of these letters. When it comes to the sound or pronunciation, the letter I or I Latina will always make the same sound I, just like in the examples we saw before. Let's move to the next vowel, and that's O. It makes the sound O, as expected. Let's look at some examples. Hola, amigo, vamos, comer, ahora. Another reminder for you to never prolong the vowels like you do it in English. If we combine these words in a sentence, it should sound approximately like this. Hola, amigo, vamos a comer ahora. Instead, what Spanish-speaking people hear is this. Hola, amigo, vamos a comer ahora. You will get better at this, or there will be no girls for you, my friend. The last letter for today is U. Here's when it gets a little tricky when it comes to pronunciation. In the beginning of the video, I said that the letter U doesn't always make the same sound. Let's have a deeper look. In most cases, the letter U makes the same sound U, just like in English words tooth or moon, just shorter. For example, vuelo, puro, Ucrania, espíritu, unicornio. Now, there's 2 exceptions to this basic rule. Exception number 1 happens when the letter U comes in groups of letters ge, gi, ke, or ki. In this case, our letter U will go completely silent. Examples: guerra, guitarra, queso, aquí. Notice how we just skip U completely. We don't say guerra, it's guerra. We don't say guitarra, we say guitarra. Same goes for queso and aquí. They're not queso nor aquí. Now, exception number 2, or rather, exception to the exception. By default, in most words, the letter groups ge and gi make our letter U go silent, like we've just discussed. Well, except when it doesn't. In some words, the letter U will make its original sound U, even if it's contained within the groups ge and gi. But not to worry, in this case the letter U will have 2 dots on top of it. Allow me to explain. There's a chance that you've seen the letter U have 2 dots on top of it. No, it's not a different letter, it's the same letter U, and the 2 dots on top of it are called diaresis, if anyone cares. These 2 dots exist for only one purpose. They tell us that even though our letter U right now is a part of ge or gi group, I wanted to have a normal healthy U sound instead of going silent. Let's look at some examples. Linguista, vergüenza, bilingue, pinguino. There's not a lot of words that have this type of U, so don't worry too much about it. Just remember, when you see this letter U with 2 dots, all it means is that you have to pronounce the letter U normally, instead of skipping it, as you do usually when it comes to the letter group ge or gi. And we're done. I know a lot has been said, so let's do a little recap. First, all Spanish vowels make the same exact sound as their name, with the slight exception of the letter U. Second, all vowels make a much shorter sound than the way we do it in English. Do not keep your mouth open for too long. Third, the letter E can have 2 names, E and E Latina. Do not think about it, just memorize both options and choose your favorite in case you need to spell anything. Lastly, the letter U makes the same sound U, unless it's contained within the letter groups ge, gi, ke, or ki. In this case, the letter U gets completely silent. But, some words still allow letter U to make its original sound U, even within the letter groups ge and gi. However, in this case, our letter U will have to grow 2 dots on top of it, called diaresis, therefore indicating that it has to be pronounced as usual. That's it for today. I hope it makes sense. If not, let me know down in the comment section. All the additional resources for each letter are in the description box, and thank you for watching.